Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be taking a look in r/am I the bort hole? So if you would like to judge some big old gaping bort holes with me today, then please do stick around and enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Thank you. Okay, then first post with formatting that made me want to pluck out my own eyeballs. Well, this one was posted by Oregon Homebound, and it says, "Am I the bort hole for wanting to break up with my boyfriend of 6 months?" Okay, so me, 23F, and my boyfriend, 32M, have been together for about 6 months. We met through a mutual friend and basically hit it off the moment we met. Great conversation, great chemistry, and he checked all my boxes for a partner. A little backstory. I met him a year after leaving my relationship of 8 years. 8 years? 8 years. 15 or 14 then you'd have been. Flippin' heck. That is an early start to a long-term relationship. Goodness me. He had also just ended his marriage with the mother of one of his kids. He has 2. I never saw a partner having kids as a bad thing. I've always loved kids and have always admired people who step up to raise kids that aren't their own. My stepdad, my step-grandpa, my aunt and uncle. Non-blood related to me, but all played huge parts in my life and have all raised kids that aren't theirs and are amazing loving step-parents. When we met, I was living with my grandparents at the time because I had just moved across the country after I ended things with my partner of 8 years. I'm also a part-time student and I work part-time. Between work, school and studying, my plate is already full. When my boyfriend and I first got together, I'd cook and clean when I came over as a nice gesture because I can see his hands were full working full-time and being a father to 2 kids. Yeah, that doesn't mean that you have to become some domesticated skivvy just because he's got 2 kids and works full-time. He has full custody of the oldest and 50-50 of the youngest. He would constantly bring up how nice it was whenever I came over. He would mention that since it's such a long drive from where I was staying with my grandparents to his house that I should just move in. Don't! This is a trap! He just wants an in-house cleaner. I kind of laughed this off at first because we had been dating for such a short amount of time. At the time, it was only 1 to 2 months. Oh, red flags are waving in the wind. He ended up convincing me to move in, for fuck's sake. And at the time, it sounded like a good idea to me. He told me that we would have more time to spend together, more time to go on hikes together. I should also mention that I'm a very active person. I go to the gym 3 or 4 times a week, hiking, horseback riding, or any physical activity that I could possibly do in my free time. When we first started talking, my boyfriend made it sound like he was into all of those things too, talking about how he was raised on a farm, how he just never had the time, and if I moved in, that me helping around the house with the kids, it would free up more time for us to spend together. Fast forward, I moved in somewhat against my grandparents' wishes, yeah, I'll bet. They think the boyfriend is a good guy, but don't think that he's the guy for me. It's now been 6 months. I've been living here for about 4, and we haven't gone on a single hike, played a single sport, or done any physical activity aside from walking to the grocery store together. I brought up multiple times how physical activity and an active lifestyle are things that I need for my mental and physical health. Whenever this is brought up, he constantly brings up how we have no time and that the gas money alone it would take to get to those things makes it not worth it. What a shocker! He wanted you to move in to look after his kids, cook and clean for him, and that is about it. Who could have seen this coming? Come on, OP. Mind you, whenever he does have free time, he spends it on the couch watching anime for hours at a time, or on video games for, I kid you not, 6 to 8 hours at a time. All the while I'm left with the 2 kids to look after, a house to clean and dinner to make. Now my boyfriend is a good guy, no he's not. He is a patient father and a kind boyfriend, no he's not. But I feel like he is too stuck in his ways or too comfortable with the life that he has now to consider my feelings and change. I feel like I have become some sort of replacement for his ex-wife or live-in nanny. It should also be a good time to mention he likes to make jokes about how a woman's place is in the kitchen. He's not joking. He is not joking. joking. How cooking and cleaning is for women, and how he only helps when we are having food that needs to be cooked on his outdoor grill, as I'm not allowed to touch it because he thinks I'll break it. I was also under... I'm sorry, I'm laughing just because this is so ridiculous. He is ridiculous. I was also under the impression when I moved in that he would be paying for all of the bills, the house bills and his bills. I pay for my own bills. Being as how I make minimum wage and work 20 hours a week, I can barely afford my own bills. But lately, he's been asking for me to pay $500 for rent. Mind you, this is half my monthly income, and if I did pay for it, I wouldn't be able to afford my own bills. I do love this man. Why? It's the burning question I think we all want to know. And I don't want to abandon him with all of his responsibilities. It's not abandoning him. They are his responsibilities and his responsibilities alone. This OP should not feel bad. She didn't choose to have these kids, he did. I never put that much thought into being a mother and always assumed that if it happened, I would be in a loving marriage with a man that has the same outlook on life as I do. Then you need to open your eyes and become a lot more picky, because men like this don't want you for you and to make you happy. They want you for what you can do with them, and that alone. Another thing to note, not only does he not live in an active lifestyle, but he doesn't see it as important for his children to either. They sit inside all day on their phones and tablets, sometimes not moving from the couch or their beds for the entire day. It makes me sad, but since these are not my children, I have no authority to put them into sports or take them to do any physical activity. I've noticed since moving in, my mental health has significantly declined, and my physical health is going down the drain. I don't know how to go about this, how to tell him I'm not happy, how to tell him that I love him, but I am not in love with him any longer, or how to leave his 2 children that I have grown very fond of and love. It has been a few months. Pull yourself together, OP. I've already talked to my grandparents and I'm welcome home anytime I please. Any advice on what I should do is more than welcome. I'm so sad and heartbroken that this wonderful, kind man isn't who I thought he was. Here's my advice. Pack up and leave. In the middle of the night, I don't care when. Just do it. Just get up and go. I'm not being funny, and I think this is one of those things where the OP needs a little bit of like a harsh reality check. The writing was on the wall to begin with. For one, if someone asks you to move in with them after a month of knowing them when they have kids living in the house too, red flag. If you're going around to someone's house and you spend the majority of the time there cooking and cleaning, red flag. When someone's making jokes like that, they're not jokes. They're just trying to ease you into the way they see you. Like, it's not a joke. And I just think, honestly, it was all very rushed. And then saying, I don't know if I can leave because we've built such a good relationship and I've bonded with the kids. It's been a few months. I promise you they won't care. As horrible as that sounds, I promise they won't care. Just get out and get gone for your own mental health, OP, for goodness sake. So, down in the comments, Successful Ad 4606 says, gee, who could have foreseen that moving in with a guy nearly 10 years older than you, yeah, and exactly that part too, with 2 kids after only dating a couple of months would go so wrong. Yet you've moved in with someone and you're saying, oh, I can't believe that they're not the man I thought they were. You didn't know him! You'd been together a month or 2. That is not enough time to get to know someone properly. Of course you should break up. You have approximately 0 in common. And then Anna Jack says, this is really sad to read. Clearly he wanted you to move in so that you could cook, clean and look after his kids. While he seemingly relaxes, he also clearly doesn't care about your interests. You've expressed that being active is important to you and he just doesn't care. You should leave. It's a shame for the kids, but that's not your responsibility. Your grandparents are right. He is not the man for you. Honestly, I do feel bad for the OP, but I also feel like they do really need someone there to just kind of shake them back to reality at the same time. So we then have an update from the OP, and I am recording this like flipping days later because I completely forgot to record this bit, by the way. So if we sound a bit different, that is why. So the update is saying, I finally left him. Yay! Thank the universe. I finally left him back in September. I made a post, am I the butthole for wanting to leave my boyfriend of 6 months? And every comment said yes, so I moved out October 1st, and they mean yes, they should move out, not yes, they are the butthole. I know a lot of people on the original post wanted an update and to know that I did it, and I'm sorry for not updating. I debated a lot on if I should or not, so here we go. I, 23F, had a 32M boyfriend who had 2 kids. I work and take college classes at the same time. The relationship quickly turned into me being caretaker for his kids and him, whilst I also juggled work and school. Everyone who commented on my original post brought to my attention how he turned me into a bang nanny and how I was naive. I thank you all for that, by the way. I left October 1st and moved back into my grandma's house where I have been ever since. Life has gotten so much easier for me. Oh, I bet. I'm not constantly stressed and I don't have to worry about paying a good portion of his rent, groceries anymore. He did try to get me back many times, calling me, texting me how much he loves me and how he'll never find another woman like me. We call that love bombing, my love. It's not true. They're just trying to get you back any way they can. It's like slinging shit at a wall and seeing what sticks. And how I was his one true soulmate. I wasn't buying it. I stood firm in my choices and life has been better. He texted me the other day telling me he slept with an ex-fling of his. She is older and known for sleeping with anyone who looks at her. He told me how disgusting he felt after and how he wished I didn't hurt him so much. Ah, yes, because you just, made him trip and fall into this lady. Sure. Basically telling me it was all my fault he slept with her. Wow. Long story short, my life is amazing now he isn't in it. I've gone on 2 girls' trips and 3 solo hikes, and my smile has never been brighter. I owe it all to you, Reddit. Well, I am very flippin' glad to read it because, honestly, OP, you annoyed me a little bit with how much you were letting this person walk all over you, and not in the way of like, you annoyed me because you're annoying. Just, I wish I could reach back in the past through the screen and give you a shake and be like, come on, woman, see the light. Okay, so down in the comments of the update post, StarAngel1973 says, love this kind of update, so happy for you. And then Dismal Remote 3906 says, me too. I have to point out that this behaviour when wanting to get back with you is called love bombing. Yes, it is. And it's manipulation. The tell is, why was he not like this before when it mattered in the relationship? He was not paying attention during the relationship, and now that he has consequences for that, of having to do things on his own, he wants you to come back. That is not him being loving, it's him trying to save himself at your expense. Well done for not going back. I wish you the best. Exactly. I'm sorry, I feel like I sound really lispy. I'm breaking in a new mouth guard. I feel like I sound really lispy. What was I saying? Yeah, I had an ex like this. It was one of those relationships where it should have been dead in the water long before it actually was. And we'd break up and we'd get back together and we'd break up and we'd get back together and we'd break up and he'd promise me the world, tell me I'm the best thing since sliced bread, tell me he would do anything for me, he loves me, he can't live without me. No. He just couldn't be on his own, and he just wanted someone there until someone better come along. And it's hurtful to realise that because to these sorts of people, we are nothing but a tool, a means to an end, and they panic when they no longer have use of their favourite tool. So you just have to stand strong and be like, nope, I'm not falling for it. But, at the same time, as much as I was like, OP, come on, open your eyes, I understand. Because we've all been there. And OP is what, 23, I think? 23, yeah. So when you're that age, honestly, you do put up with a lot that you really should not ever put up with. So if you're listening to this and you are of the early 20s age demographic and you are letting yourself be played by some absolute fool like this, just know they don't love you and someone who does is out there waiting for you and you can't get them until you've released this baggage. So go on, release the baggage. Next post, posted by SingerAware2658. Am I the butthole for not taking down pictures of my family in my own home to make my son's new wife feel more comfortable? No. I, late 50s, am a picture person. I have hundreds up in my home. It started when I was caring for my aunt with Alzheimer's and has just gone from there. I have 3 kids and 4 grandkids, and as you can imagine, I love having photos of them up in my home. My middle son, Gavin, 27, is no longer with my 4-year-old grandson Tommy's mum, Helena. They're still friendly and co-parent well, and I see her often enough because I help with Tommy. Last year, he married Cherry, also 27, after only being together for a few months. What is it with people rushing into things these days? This video is full of them, apparently. But she seems sweet and like she makes him happy. We had no issues until this summer when my son asked me to take down all my pictures that Helena was in to make Cherry more comfortable. I don't have any of her alone, just a few of the entire family and a few when Tommy was younger that my son is also in. I said no, it's my home and I like having them up. I certainly have added many with Cherry in them, but it's silly to take them down just because Helena and Gavin are no longer together. It's still a part of our family history. He asked again a few weeks ago and I gave him the same answer. I told him that I'd be happy to explain to Cherry, but he dropped it. He called me yesterday and told me that it was the last time he was going to ask. The pictures needed to come down or Cherry wouldn't come to our home anymore. Okay, cool. Don't come then. I told him that was ridiculous, and he said that it was important to him because they made Cherry jealous and it was affecting the way she was treating Tommy. I am appalled. Apparently, Tommy mentioned a picture in my house and Cherry threw a fit, and Gavin says that it's making his life difficult. He brought it up around my daughter, the eldest, who told her younger sister as well, and they both agree that Cherry is being ridiculous. She is. It's Tommy's mum. Like, you can't just erase her existence. I told him that if your wife is treating Tommy poorly because of some pictures in my home, then you need to think if this is the right person. Obviously he disagrees, but he's been hounding me leading up to Thanksgiving. My husband is also on the side of we do not negotiate with terrorists, but has also pointed out that they are married and we should pick our battles. I'm wondering if I'm missing the forest for the trees. No, I wouldn't take them down. Because I'm not being funny, how is Cherry treating that kid every time he comes back from his mum's house? Just because he's been with his mum. You know? I wouldn't do it. I'd be like, no, you need to get over your fucking selves. That's his mum. Just a quick edit. If there was abuse, I would have already called CPS. Cherry has decided when Tommy is there to make herself sparse and not be involved with him anymore. I'm sorry, but that's the point where I'd be like, yeah, my son needs to get rid of his wife because otherwise he's complicit. Absolutely. Like, Gavin is in the wrong at that point if he doesn't get rid of her. I have told Gavin that that's not acceptable and he says he's working on it, but there is nothing to report and Helena knows all of this. Edit, thanks. I won't be removing anything, and if Cherry wants to continue this toddler-like temper tantrum, she is welcome to stay home alone on Thanksgiving. If she wants to grow up and realise that she's married a man with a child, she can come, but I'll be having a serious talk with my son. My husband and I are well off and readily help our kids financially. He's welcome to cut me off over this, but I doubt that will ever happen, as we will react likewise. This is the only time I totally agree with parents holding money over their kids' head. I also counted today when I was cleaning. I saw a maximum of 5 pictures with Helena in them. The fact that this woman is throwing a fit about 5 out of hundreds of pictures is crazy to me. Maybe I'll put up more. So, down in the comments, my 4 cats one says, poor Tommy. Just wait until a new baby comes along. Oh my god, yeah. And then this is an Instagram says, hopefully Cherry is kicked to the curb before that happens. And then Erin says she's already pregnant, 27 and married after a few months. Yeah, actually, maybe. Or maybe not. Maybe she was just trying to secure him in place as quickly as possible. Next post, posted by Recall Sintranscribe. I am so sure I didn't say that right. Am I the butthole for laughing about a pretend allergy? Parents gave up wanting responsibility for Thanksgiving meals about 5 years ago. My house is big enough to host and I enjoy cooking, so for the past 3 years the duties have fallen to me. I make the turkey, the stuffing, mashed potatoes and gravy rolls. Others bring sides and things like chips and drinks. This year, my brother and his wife came into town early and stayed over. Thanksgiving, mid-morning, my sister-in-law wanders in the kitchen while I'm making stuffing. She sees my pile of breadcrumbs, celery, onions, sausage in a bowl, and me sautéing mushrooms. She says, "What are those for?" I told her that they were for the stuffing. She put her hands on her hips and said, freaking out, "You can't put mushrooms in the stuffing. I'm allergic." I was stupefied. I said, "When did this happen?" And she just looked at me like I was an idiot, so I said, "When did you discover that you're allergic to mushrooms?" She scoffed and said, "I've always been allergic." Now, the thing is, when I make my stuffing, I like things to be well incorporated, and I always chop the mushrooms small after I sauté them, so they're not actually apparent in the mix as mushrooms among the other ingredients. I burst out in a laugh and said, "Well, that's interesting because you weren't allergic last year and you weren't allergic the year before." She asked me what I meant, and I told her I've been making stuffing like this every year she's eaten it, and furthermore, she's raved over it and had zero allergic reaction. Maybe she's not allergic, maybe she just thinks she doesn't like mushrooms. She got pissed and went to my brother to tell him, and she told him that she wanted to leave, but he wanted to stay. So she spent the entire rest of the day shooting daggers at me with her eyes. They were supposed to stay through the weekend, but they left Thanksgiving night. I confided in my mum and my sister yesterday, and they kind of chuckled and said that it's not my fault, but my brother texted me this morning that I could have just not used the mushrooms, and that I made his wife feel stupid for no reason. I maintain I didn't make her feel anything. Am I the butthole? So we have an update to this, so we'll read the update now. Update. First, thanks everyone, even those of you who said I was the butthole. You gave me a lot to think about. Just got off the phone with my brother and I'm sitting here with a beer, truly at a loss for words, but here goes. He admitted that my sister-in-law, who has been eating my stuffing, and my sister's green bean casserole, this has been verified, for a few Thanksgivings now, did not know that there were mushrooms in either. Neither has she ever told anyone, not my brother, her husband, not my mother, sister, me, of any allergies before now, because she doesn't have any. Apparently, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around this, she has like a phobia, I guess you would call it. Maybe that's not the right word. But after watching a TikTok video about some edible mushrooms growing on dead skin on feet or in human bodies, she believes that she can be infected by eating them. He tried assuring her that it wouldn't happen, but she cited other videos she's watched about spores, etc., including the show Last of Us, which he explained is fiction created from a video game, but she swears it's based on fact and still possible. I feel like we have bigger problems here than the stuffing. I have encouraged him to try to get her to see a doctor to talk about this. Okay, so I know that everyone's going to be going, "Oh my God, the sister-in-law, what a bellend," and blah, blah, blah. Why did she lie about an allergy? However, I have issues with like contamination OCD. Have done since I was a little kid. The first time I remember it, I refused to drink out of a cup. Well, I still kind of don't unless I can see the cup in front of me the whole time I'm using it. But, you know, OCD is not logical, so... and for a little while, a few years ago, and it all triggered off because I kept getting a really dry, tickly back of my throat, and it felt like there was something stuck in it. I know now it's because of reflux. I did not know that then. And I've had this on and off through my whole life, but for some reason, I think I was just a bit more susceptible to poor mental health at that point. I was having some bad issues with my anxiety as well, and I was going through it, I think. But I'd looked up what it could be, and then there was all this stuff about like fungus growing in people's throats and in people's lungs and things like that, and it all spiraled. Anyway, I became like really OCD about spores and things like that, and really like panicking even if I was near a mushroom. I love mushrooms, by the way. I'm okay now, by the way. I can eat them again. But for a good year, I couldn't even go near one. But I would make excuses whenever anyone would try and serve them to me and be like, "Oh, I don't like them," even though they're looking at me like, "You've always fucking liked them. What you on about?" Because I felt embarrassed, because I knew in my head that actually it was really bloody illogical. But I had convinced myself that eating them or having them that close to my face, I was going to breathe in some sort of spore, even when they're cooked, and like infect myself and then get these lung funguses, even though, again, they're nothing to do with edible mushrooms, these things. But yeah, so I can actually 100% get where the OP's sister-in-law is coming from in a way. And it was a crazy time, I must say, a crazy flipping time. But that is what contamination OCD does to you. Honestly, it's wild. So yeah, a little backstory there for you. I promise I'm not crazy, okay? I'm fine now. So, down in the comments, Fancy Still 4297 says, not the butthole, because no one with a food allergy should eat at someone else's house without disclosing that allergy. I have several food allergies, but only a couple cause anaphylactic reactions. I carry EpiPens and always disclose my allergies when accepting an invitation. Basically saying I don't want to be a pain, but can't eat these 5 items, so if that's a problem, let me know. Yeah, and then everyone else, obviously, this was before the update, was saying not the butthole, not the butthole. And this is why I thought I best add in my own experience here, because then people, once they read the update, were like, oh, she's ridiculous. Oh, how ridiculous. She just doesn't like him and she's making an excuse. Where I genuinely can sympathise with the sister-in-law here, I must say. And I get it. Is it right for her to have been like, I have an allergy? No, of course not. But I get it. I really do. Okay, so I think that's all we've got time for today. If you made it all the way to the end with me, then I appreciate you very, very much. If you give a little like, subscribe, notifications on, maybe even drop a little comment. I don't know, helps the algorithms, doesn't it? That'll be your initiation into the Governor Void. Welcome. Whatever it is you're doing for the day, I hope you have a really good rest of the day. Goodbye.